I remember it was the first, I was 5 years old and I was standing by the front door with my mom. And she tells me it's the first day of school. And I don't know how well she prepared me for it, but I says, why? She says, well, you want to get a nice job like your dad, don't you? And I said, no, I'm fine just the way I am. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Said, well, it's the first day of school and you're going to go. School bus pulls up and she dragged me kicking and screaming, I don't want to go. I don't want to go out to the bus. And put me on the bus and sent me off. I remember sitting on the bus by myself, leaning my head against the window and sobbing. And it was then I made three decisions. First was, I don't need you, Mom, or anybody else. I can do it myself. And I must not be lovable because if I was, you wouldn't have made me go to school. And I must not be worth much because if I was, you wouldn't have taken me to the school bus like taking out the trash. And that's how I lived my life since that day, by those three choices. And I had to keep proving it to myself and others, and that is what accounts for the self-destructive behavior that I've done in the past and the self-sabotage that I couldn't explain why I did it. Because it's like that situation where you keep something keeps happening in your life and you keep wondering, why does this happen to me over and over and over again? And even though you see it coming, you just watch yourself going down the tubes. So life goes on, and I'm 10 to 12 years old, and Sunday morning rolls around. I'm supposed to be getting ready for church with my little brother, and we get in a fight, and my father would come down and solve the fight by whipping us with a fly swatter, a wire one that would leave welts on our legs for 3 days. I hated him for that. I blamed him for the way my life was. And of course, I blamed my mom. So life goes on, and finally, I discovered the Landmark Forum through coaching a real estate coaching program, and I would be at various functions in it, and people would be whispering about the Landmark Forum. I go, well, what is it? Must be great, and I wanted some of that, so I signed up for the Landmark Forum. In the advanced course, they were telling us, the forum leader was telling us, if you like the Landmark Forum, you should be sharing it with your friends and family, like sharing where you had a good steak at or a good movie that you saw. I'm going, you want us to do your job for you? That ain't right. And me and my classmate were sitting there complaining to each other about somebody. And he says, somebody should say something about this. And I stuck up my hand and I says, that would be me. So he says, yeah, the Landmark Forum leader says, what? I says, well, it feels like my dad telling us, do it or I'll kick your ass. He says, well, I'm not your dad, am I? I go, no. He says, I'm not telling you to do it or I'll kick your ass, am I? I go, no. Well, what's this all about? I said, well, my dad used to whip us, me and my brother, as kids, and I hate him for it. He says, all right, come on down and tell me about it. So I get up on the stage, and the forum leader says, all right, now what would happen? I says, my dad would whip me and my little brother, and with a wire fly swatter, leave welts on my legs for 3 days. He says, well, can you forgive him? Ordinarily, I'd be nice and say, yeah, I guess I could. But I said, no. I'm about 80%. He sticks out two hands and says, one's life, one's death. Which do you choose? I said, well, I choose life, of course. He says, well, can you forgive him then? I go, well, no. He says, no. Tell me again what would happen. I says, well, me and my little brother were supposed to be getting ready for church. And this is where the lights and the fireworks went off. I did it knowing my father was going to come down and kick our ass. Now, why would I do that? Because I got to be right because he was wrong to do that. I got to avoid responsibility because he did it to me. I didn't do it to myself. And I got to just wallow in self-pity, which was a substitute for the love I was really looking for. And the Landmark Forums leader says, well, you know, you're probably looking for a little attention too, weren't you? And I go, yeah, but not that kind. And he says, it's pretty powerful that a 10-year-old boy was manipulating a 40-year-old man. And I go, yeah. And he just left me sitting with that. He said, well, now, can you forgive your father? I go, hell yes, because it was me the whole time. It had nothing to do with him. I'm the one that was causing it. So I go, geez, I go back to my wife and my family and friends. I'm big and bad, and I got my life back, and I knew what I was doing. And my wife says, well, I don't see no change. And she was right. So life goes on, and even though I knew what I was doing, I couldn't stop myself. There was something still hidden. I didn't know what it was. But it had to be dark and ugly because I couldn't see it. So, as luck would have it, I came down with Parkinson's disease, and I'm in my neurologist's office. She's telling me, you should go see a shrink because you're depressed. I said, well, no shit, doc. I got Parkinson's, for Christ's sakes. But and life was busy, but I finally got around to it. I finally went to see the shrink because I figured, well, if insurance will pay for it, I'll go. In the third visit, he was asking me some questions, and what came up with for me was that I made a fourth decision on that day, and that was this. I says, all right, Mom, you was wrong to make me feel this way, so I'm going to prove to you, and I was hurt and I was scared, 5-year-old. I'm going to prove to you every freaking day that I can do it myself, I'm unlovable, and I'm worthless. And when I sat there as an adult and realized how crazy that was, and how stupid that was, of course this is a 5-year-old, I was able to drop those choices like dropping this tissue. We learned that in the Landmark Forum. When you make a decision, your life changes instantly. So it's kind of funny that it also came to me that it wasn't even really my mom that I was mad at all these years and holding her at bay. It was somebody I made up. It was a figment of my imagination. It wasn't even my real mom that I was mad at. So now instead of a 5-year-old making the decisions and running my life, hopefully there's an adult there doing it. I'm human. I still make mistakes. I'm not a guru. I'm not special. But I just know that I'm happy and free, and nothing can take that away from me. Now there's a little poem that I wrote that's based on The Indispensable Man by Saxton White Kissinger. I rewrote it because I needed it to make sense to what I'm trying to explain to you. So sometime when you wonder what is happening, when you think something is wrong, When you're sure something's going on and you're about to lose your mind, when you think that what you feel is real and others are doing things to you, just realize who is creating the madness and step away from the world. Take a bucket and fill it with water. Put your hand in up to the wrist. Pull it out, and what you have left is like the universe before you exist. You can make a big splash. You can make a lot of waves. Be quiet and let your soul observe the stillness, like being in an empty cave. The moral of this little story is to get that nothing is really going on in the universe. Drop the drama that you alone created. You are nothing, like the void.